Alright, so this is my, excluding the Lux Row double barrel, because again, that does not count. That is too ridiculous. This is my first experience with actual Lux Row distillate. That's at an affordable price and reasonably available.
Yes.
This is the Daviess County.
Daviess, however the fuck you want to
You're way more sophisticated than me. I've just been saying
Daviess.
Daviess County.
Huh?
I've just been saying Daviess County. You guys.
There's two S's, so that implies.
I've been saying like Daviess, like just slightly. I don't know what's actually right.
Daviess. Daviess.
I'm an American. I'm going to simplify this word as much as I possibly can. Dave County.
Dave County. Alright, we're trying some Dave County French Oak finish. So this is Maker's Mark 46, but with a Lux Row base.
Yes.
And it's still, again, slightly weeded. It is a blend of a weeded mash bill and a high rye mash bill.
What's the brew point on this?
96.
Okay.
And this is a neck pour, so keep that in mind too. That's something we have no experience with. I never heard of this before it came in.
I gotta say, it has the same hot buttered rum note as Maker's 46 on the nose. So we know what's coming from the French Oak.
Yes.
Sweet, rich, hot buttered rum.
The nose has me excited to try the rest of this because it's promising.
Dry wood, brown sugar, no fruit, like oaky notes.
That's the other thing, is that the big difference between this and the 46 is that this does not have the cherry.
Yep.
That's the only large difference.
Yep. And I get some of that. I get some musty peanut on the nose on the finish of the nose. Which makes
sense, because you do get some of that out of the Ezra.
I'm excited to try it.
And it is sourced, I mean, I don't know. Could have something to do with stuff being aged wherever Lux Row is.
Oh, that's good.
Ooh.
Oh, fuck.
I found my replacement for Maker's 46 standard.
I am gonna have to forget about all of this.
This is really good. This is 46 without the cherry. Dial up the sweetness, dial down the cherry, and you got this.
This is less bitter than the 46 too. The 46 can sometimes get
46 has a little bit more of the oakiness.
Yes.
This does not have that.
This has
I think this is aged less.
This has like toasted oak and spice to replace that.
No, you know what? This is aged for 6 years, and I believe it's 6 years, and finished for 6 months with the French Oak. But the difference is, I don't believe this is stave. This is finished in the casks.
Yeah.
So that's the other big difference, is that the 46, they put staves in the cask.
Yes.
This is literally finished for 6 months in French Oak barrels.
This is really fucking good.
This is delicious.
So you buying that cab?
I'm gonna buy
someone aside whenever
it's
I get
aside for me, so
whenever I get my paycheck, yeah, I might.
Yeah, let me.
This kind of came out of nowhere. This isn't one I thought I was gonna buy, and then I read about it and I read nothing negative, and I saw it was Lux Row, and then I was like, you know what? Let's try the cab. I want to try it. I want to see if it's comparable to the Thomas S. Moore.
Because I think I might like this better than the Thomas S. Moore cab, for the sole reason that this has some dry notes to it, and I think that's coming from the bourbon, not the French Oak finish.
Right.
Like this has like not peanut but peanut shell.
It's because again there's some high rye.
Yep. And I think that the Cab Sauv of this I'm gonna like a lot better than the Thomas S. Moore Cab Sauv. Plus for $30 less.
Yeah.
I really want to try the cab. Like.
I want to try it side. I think when we try it, we gotta try it side by side with the Moore.
I'm okay with that. I would love to.
You'll have to bring that down.
Honestly, yeah, I'll have to bring that down. I still have that. I have a half bottle still.
I still have about half a bottle of the Shark, because once those ones are gone, that's it.
Well, yeah, and I don't drink that very often at all.
Exactly.
And like that's kind of.
This is one that I'm gonna milk because this isn't a regular stock thing.
Fuck.
Which I mean, on the bright side, 46 is reminiscent enough that it's not like I'm missing out on the world by not having this around all the time.
Right, but this is so much smoother.
I want it. Yeah.
This is so much
I am really happy with this purchase for 45 plus tax.
Yeah, I'm
a couple bucks more than the 46 for more smoothness, more sweetness, less bitter spice.
You wanna know what I bet this is? I bet this is just Rebel, like a good like selection of barrels from Rebel finished in French Oak. Because this does taste reminiscent of Rebel.
It's
I
possible,
agree.
but at the same time, they still source Rebel.
completely they source it? I thought it was only partially sourced.
It could be. They're also now owned by MGP, so I don't know what the hell they're doing with Rebel and Ezra.
That's a good point.
From my knowledge, they're not going to change much. It's just another revenue spot for MGP.
I think they'll slowly change it by like blending stuff in until it's different completely. Because whenever it comes to whiskey, you can't immediately change something
You have to subtly.
because there's always that fan base who's like the ones who are buying the cheaper stuff is their go-to. Like Knob Creek isn't going to change because there's motherfuckers like me buying Knob Creek 9-year regularly. There's people buying Maker's Mark regularly, and they're like, we can't change these things. So if they're gonna change Ezra and they're gonna change Rebel, they'll do it over the course of like 10 years by blending slowly
Right.
to the point that the old distillate's gone and then they just have their new stuff in.
Right.
But that being said, MGP weeded as the new Rebel, I wouldn't complain about that.
No, me either.
The 45% wheat mash bill, I like a lot.
The Redemption Weeded was really, really interesting.
Oh yeah. The Old Elk weeded is very good.
Yes, it is.
That's that like if they end up doing that, I wouldn't complain if that's what Rebel turned into.
Right, a cheap version of that. Yeah.
Yes.
But this is really fucking good. See, I make educated guesses when I want to try something new, and they pay off typically.
This paid off.
This,
It's at a reasonable price too, at $45.
yeah, their standard bourbon's 40.
Yeah.
The 2 finishes are 45, but that's just those finishes you're paying for the extra 6 months. It's not
Yeah.
That's not bad for paying for an extra 6 months of aging.
Right. And that's why like this is a bottle that I might consider like risking the money on after looking into it.
Mm-hmm.
But like that Yellowstone we were talking about earlier, we don't know exactly where it's sourced from.
It's priced too high.
It's $100, and I can't risk that.
It's not it's not sourced though. It's Limestone Branch. That's the distillery.
It might be a pass thing then because whenever I looked it up on Breaking Bourbon, it says distillery undisclosed for a lot of their products, and that was why I was like, I feel like they may have sourced some Knob Creek 15 year because Steve Beam is the head distiller.
That is possible. Yeah.
So it's like I want to risk it, but at the same time, I am not sure, so I'm not going to.
And I'm glad. I mean, I'm missed out on being able to get a bottle, but I doubt it was something I was going to buy anyway. I'm at least going to get to try it.
Yeah.
So. And if I get a 2-ounce pour, I'll save it so we can all try it.
Yeah. And that being said, $100 is a hard sell. Like, there's only a handful of brands I'm willing to spend.
Blood Oath people buy up at that price. The Little Book, Little Book and Booker's, you pay around that price.
Yeah, for me, I'm willing to spend $100 on Little Book and Booker's, but like Booker's is one of my favorite barrel proofers.
Yeah. It's. I would struggle to spend $100 on a brand I know nothing about.
Yeah. And that was the big thing, was like, I know nothing about what it's going to taste like, so I can't risk it.
Like with Booker's, you kind of, even if every batch is different, you kind of have an idea of what to expect.
Yeah.
And you know that there's, even a bad batch of Booker's is a good batch of Booker's.
Yeah.
I'll amend that a little bit. Even a bad batch of Booker's is a good batch of bourbon.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the best way I would say to put it.
That's fair.
But, yeah.
I mean, it's like the Boston batch. It didn't scream to me like other batches of Booker took. But I would not have been mad spending that money either.
Right.
It's even the worst ones are still a good buy price.
Yeah. I will never complain about any bottle of Booker's I buy because I go in expecting it to be rich, sweet, vanilla, and peanut in some way, shape, or form. And so far, I've gotten that in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
This year's batches, I get cinnamon roll with a little bit of peanut shell at the finish. Last year,
batches were
peanut brittle.
Yeah, that's why
All
I
the way
traded
through
on a
peanut
thick
brittle.
skin because I knew I needed one.
Yep.
And the Boston batch for some reason didn't do it for me, but it didn't do it for a lot of people either.
Yeah, Boston batch was the least popular batch of that year. Granny's batch was like the most controversial, and Pigskin people were like, this is an aggressive bourbon, which is what I wanted from Booker's. But, yeah, anyways,
Anyway, yeah, back to the
Daviess County, this is solid.
yeah.
I'm considering getting a bottle of this now, but first I have other bottles I have to get before it, unfortunately.
Right. But solid.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
had
have zero complaints about buying this.
If I-
would probably replace it.
if I had $50 to throw at a bottle of whiskey right now, I would do this in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I have a car exhaust to buy this weekend.
Unfortunately, I am broke.
I have to drop $2,500 on my car next week. I'm not looking
What
for
are you getting done?
Just mini problems.
I have to get an oil filter gasket change, a water pressure pulley change, and a front strut mounts, I think. I have to get those changed. I might have to get something done to my timing chain.
Timing's a bitch. I don't touch
Yeah.
timing,
But like the whole,
those other things are really not that difficult.
you say that. However, the way that they manufacture Mini, that oil filter gasket change, you have to take apart the entire front of the car, and it's an 8-hour job.
Yeah, I've worked on German cars.
Yeah.
I've done an oil
He
filter
owns
housing.
a German car.
I've done an oil filter housing gasket on a BMW 128 with the N52 6-cylinder.
Yeah.
That is by far one of the most pain in the ass simple jobs ever done.
Let me put it this way. We did straight up body work and framework on my car quicker than it takes to do that job.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna bite the bullet and spend the money on taking it
Yeah,
to the
absolutely.
mini dealer because I want someone who knows what they're doing it. I don't trust myself to take apart that much of that car and put it back together. And quite frankly, I don't want to waste fucking 10 hours doing all of that shit.
Fair enough.
It's not worth it to me.
Then there's
Anyway,
me.
because it occurs to me that the video has not
Oh,
yet ended.
yeah.
Oh shit.
So,
Daviess County, everybody.
don't buy a Mini.